Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to EA Tetragrammaton, where we are playing This is turn 160. It continues. We've been playing the game for over a year now. Goodness gracious. Alright, let's go. Moving on. We've got a whole lot of stuff to cover, so let's just jump right in. We have been attacked by a great many horrors. Let's see who lives and who dies. Lich 23 dies to 5 Soul Torns. Gala 64 dies to 3 Soul Torns. Ishib 27 defeats the single Float Cat Horror. Cool. We cast an Infernal Tempest. We get one of our Kusarikus off without any issue, and then get another off and get attacked. Voodoo 283 goes down to 6 Soul Torns. Do a Force of Darkness. Cool. We get a report from This is, whoa, okie dokie. A hostile spell has been stopped by the Astral Dome. So, this is an investment that we're probably... It is a somewhat dangerous investment, especially now. But it is something that I probably should be putting on all of my major fortifications, truth be told. And that is... Astral Dome is basically the best chance we have. It's a 50-50 chance, but it's the best chance we have, really, of blocking random effects. Things like Flames from the Sky, things like the, what is it, Black Plague or whatever, or Plague of Frogs, or this, that, or the other, right? So, good to see a positive success here. Got a Curse of Blood. More Kusarikus. This Kudu, which is weird, right? Like, this is that's a Tartarian. That's not a Kudu. But Kudu 294 gets attacked by a Lesser Horror. Dies after casting some Kusarikus. 296 succeeds. Nazar II casts Gift of Reason and gets attacked. His battles are always against bigger things. So let's see. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's an Abomination of Desolation. Yeah. I don't know if he can devour our god, because I think you can only devour something that is smaller. But he still has Astral 8, Air 6, which is the big problem, and a life drain. So, see how this goes. Alright, so these little false horrors aren't too big of a deal, but they do take up time and cause us to, you know, not cast, which is a pain in the ass. We do have several Mushushus here, which is really good. Unfortunately, this abomination is just casting like a champ, because he's got innate spellcaster, so... They can cast spells in the same round of combat as they move or attack. And I think he actually casts 2 spells per round. I think that's what... I could be wrong, but I think that's what Innate Spellcaster 2 is. So... He casts Break the Third Soul. Maybe not. Confusion. Break the Third Soul. Yeah, I think he's casting 2 spells per round. Which is just oof. Okay, so he does not have regeneration, but he does have a life drain attack. And he's got really high attack values, so he's going to hit almost always. So... We've gotta do really chunky damage against him to kill him. We can with the Frostbrand. We do 47 damage plus, but he's got pretty high protection, especially for a horror. And that's kind of a pain in the butt. So just spamming out the confusion. And I think we're actually getting hit by the confusion. We've lost an arm at this point. Wait, I think we actually entered into this battle with the lost arm. Paralysis, just 50,000 spells going off here. Fortunately, we have a crazy amount of HP, and we are regenerating a bunch. We've got 28 magic resistance. But we're not doing any damage to him. He's got a fair amount of shock resistance. Oh, yeah, absolutely. We lost an arm during this battle. I bet, actually, if we hadn't lost the arm, this battle would be over. Because our Scutadal Volturnus would have killed him at this point. Even with the shock resistance. So that's really unfortunate. That's really unlucky. What's gonna happen? Doesn't look like he's really doing enough damage to get through our regeneration. But he's keeping us locked down with the consistent confusion casts. I guess we're probably just gonna end up breaking and running. Huh? Well, this is, interesting. This is fucking absurd. Yeah, get him! Get him, Mushushu! Oh. Okay, he's dead now. Fuck. Ugh. First luck. First. I think we're just not doing anything because of the confusion. Because it doesn't look like we're getting paralyzed. I don't want to look up confusion real quick. What does confusion actually do? Confusion does... Thaumaturgy 5, 3 air. It's magic resistance negates. It inflicts confusion, giving you a 50% check that you have to pass every single turn. Confused targets move randomly and might attack a friend or foe. Okay, well that doesn't really seem like it would do anything. What about Break the Third Soul? That's another thing that he keeps casting. Maybe that's keeping us from doing anything. Does that give us fatigue? Ah, I bet that's what it is. It's not... We're fatigued out. Yeah, it's not the confusion or the paralysis that's doing anything, because we're not really getting hit by... Oh, we did just get hit by confusion. But still, it's not that. It's the Breaking the Third Soul. He's fatiguing us out the entire time. So we're never going to have a chance to hit him. Gotcha. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay, well, we've broken. But again, we can't route. Oh, we actually got paralyzed. Holy shit. Look at him just spam that out. Yeah, we can't route because we can't move. What happens if we turn time? Do you just die in a... if you get turn timed in a, assassination? I don't even know, honestly. What the fuck just happened there? Are these Mushushus that he devoured? Did they pop out of him because he... Oh, he's dead. Let's check the log. Killed by starvation? Killed by starvation. What? Killed by starvation. Yeah, these Mushushus were individuals that he had devoured. So, is there some, like, secret term timer where if you go too far, it just insta-kills everyone on the battlefield? Because I'm not familiar with that. Someone who is, more experienced at the game and knows what just happened, leave me a message in the comments saying, you know, oh, you hit the final turn timer and when that happens, everything on the battlefield dies. Or oh yeah, the desolation has a special effect of XYZ annihilate. I don't know, you know? Like, let me know what the hell that was, because that's just like, all right. That was very strange. Anyways, our god dies. Not honestly unexpected. He wins a fair amount of these, like, what are these Doom horror battles, but some of them are just really hard for him to beat. You know? So that was interesting. We cast a Cloud Trapeze and another summon Kusarikus that were successful. We've got 2 magic phase battles. One where a Golem pops in on Simmery, and we have a Magma King there. Let's see how this goes. So he's got his Golem that has the Horror Harmonica Ring of Returning combo, which is a great combo, right? Wailing Winds, have this thing, you know, try to just survive. Fortunately, though, we have, I mean, I guess I say fortunately, it doesn't really matter. We've got a fucking badass over here in Ruax. And he is prepared to just hook things up. We've got some Gore Tides. That's no bueno. I don't even know if he can actually defeat these things. Like, I feel like their regeneration is too much for him to actually beat. Interesting that Pillar of Fire really isn't causing them any fatigue either. So he explodes, comes back over here. How does he win this? The only thing I can think is that they don't honestly do terribly much damage. Is he... Okay. It's very strange. Some of these battles get really weird. It's quite clearly he cannot kill these things. Nope. I was like, a new spell? No, it didn't matter. He's about to pop again. Do horrors even route? Oof. He is not geared out, which is kind of unfortunate. Normally I have him geared out, but on the trip over, I think I took stuff off of him to use elsewhere. Did he actually just, like, combo burn that guy down? Wow, he did. Holy shit. The right combination of damage, and he kills him. Fucking very lucky. Very lucky there. So we win in Simmery. Very cool. Let's see if we win in normal. This is another magic phase attack. This is our Tartarian 32 versus a little force that we saw outright. And we saw it has a bunch of Raktapatas in it. This was probably a bad teleport, because if these guys do life for life, we could really get fucked up here. A Temper Flesh coming out. Reinvigoration. Oh, yeah. They did Summon Imps, which is just kind of like, whatever. So. Yep. I was gonna say, he should be just fine. There's not gonna be anything else exciting that happens here. He's just gonna slowly but surely kill all these things, or eventually rout. Let's see. He wins. Alright, so he is able to kill... He doesn't kill the Raktapatas, but he kills basically everything else. The Raktapatas rout. And that's that. Very nice. Cool. Decent little blood hunting turn. We got... What is this? Close to 150 blood slaves this turn. We get a Vampire Lord that is attacked by Soul Torns and dies. Unfortunate. And then we have a whole list of battles. So let's just flip through them, and we'll watch anything that looks interesting. So battle in Mirius, just getting raided. Battle in Moss Woods, where we lose, and this is the scenario, right? I think I called this earlier on, but Lanka just has more vampires in raiding play. I don't know that he has more vampires, period, because we've got a good 20 or so, probably more at this point, vampires that we are using in our blood hunting, which is a lot of vampires to be using in blood hunting. So Lanka has more vampires in play than we do, and we're going to start having more and more results like this, right? Where he is able to group his vampires into little groups of 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, and cause me great suffering. So we're going to have to figure out a way to deal with that, okay? So that was in Moss Woods. We lose that attack, lose a vampire. We have taken control of Mag. We get hit in Black Alps and lose that. Easy. We have a big attack in Delca. Let's watch that. So this is a big force of undead from Lanka and Delca, but it's mostly just long dead. There are two Vampire Lords here. There's a Wraith Lord here, and there's a Lich and a Crystal Mage here. What we have on our side is significantly smaller, but we've got a Vampire, we've got a little bit of Chaff, we've got some Storm Demons, and we've got several Ishibs all here ready to cast Water Elementals. So let's see what goes up. A bunch of Liquid Body comes out first from our Ishibs, just to make sure that if something gets to them, they don't immediately die. Right, and also keep in mind we've got boosted HP here. The Storm Demons are, I mean, they're going to be effective, but they're not just going to annihilate everything that comes out. And this is where we start getting into the upper hand for Lanka. this whole force, excepting for this Crystal Mage over here, is undead. So Lanka gets to jump into these fights and throw out Rigor Mortis. We have a lot of undead units like Liches and Vampire Lords and things like that, but we have more units that are not undead, and it's a huge favor towards the side of Lanka in these battles. The only upside, though, or one of the only upsides, is that these water elementals don't give a shit about Rigor Mortis, because they are, I guess, counted as, yeah, they are counted as inanimates, right? Which is kind of weird considering they are literally animated and moving across the battlefield. But the water elementals are going to have to be big workhorses in this battle for us, because our Ishibs are probably going to be out very quick, because after they cast that first or the rounds of water elementals that they do, right, they're not gonna come out of fatigue because of the Rigor Mortis. So between water elementals and storm demons, we better hope that that's going to be enough. Alright, let's see how that goes. Our water elementals are holding very well. Looks like our storm demons do care about Rigor Mortis, so they're about to be out as well, unfortunately. Looks like they just routed, but they were able to kill enough. Oh my goodness. Oh no, they didn't rout, they jumped into the battle. Wow. Very interesting. They are... Doesn't look like they're not undead, but maybe they count. Right, because while they're not undead, they still go in the undead tab, right? For like moving people around, demons still count as undead for the purposes of leadership and stuff like that. So maybe they don't count or don't care about Rigor Mortis. I don't know. That seems strange to me though. But looks like we have just barely managed to. Well, they're fatigued out now, so maybe they do get affected. Either way, we are successful. We lost 5 Storm Demons, 6 Urguards, most of our Wolves, but we kept all of our Mages, and we defeated a pretty significantly larger force. Killed a Lich, killed 2 Vampire Lords, killed a Wraith Lord. Did not kill the Crystal Mage, unfortunately. But this was a pretty good win for us. I don't know that it's something that we could pull off every single time, though. We need to figure out how to defend ourselves against these types of forces, because he can throw this shit out all day. And I don't know that we can defend against it all day. We have another hit in Eterol where we get taken down by 2 Liches. 2 Vampire Lords and Obulshin take us down. Lich and a small stack of undead in Greenwoods. We attack in Sinafe and are beaten. And this is going to be a reoccurring nightmare, I think, as... Yeah, so we have a Tartarian Cyclops. It has an Amulet of Anti-Magic. Its base magic resistance now is 22. It starts off with Iron Will. Magic resistance up to 26. Iron Skin. Ooh, no, this might be a different one. Oh, yeah, this is a different one. So we'll talk about different nightmares. Iron Skin, and it just took a shit ton of damage because over here, these Vampire Lords have... Well, I guess they're kind of out now. But they had a bunch of Blood Slaves, and they were casting Life for Life. Fortunately, he survived, but... So now we can talk about the second thing, right? And we can see immediately they start jumping between Raised Skeletons, Decay, Dust to Dust, and Control Dead. So... Wow, we just took a shit ton of damage. Is he killing us with dust to dust? Might be killing us with dust to dust. Wow. Stunned. Yeah, actually it is just destroying us with dust to dust. And we're actually taking a pretty absurd amount of chip damage. Oh, I don't think it's chip damage. I think we're doing it to ourselves. I think we're hurting ourselves on the overcharge from these corpse constructs, potentially. Still, we're regenerating a fair amount. The only time that we have issue is when we get to these dust-to-dust scenarios. And jeez. They just chain casted at the right situation. Right, we can see 2 casters here. And just hovering over what they have cast in the last few turns. Raise dead, control dead, dust to dust, dust to dust, dust to dust. Right? What is dust to dust exactly? I'm pretty sure it's anti-undead. Dust is a level 1 thaumaturgy, death 1. It's only got a 30 range on it, and it is 22 damage, only affects demons and undead. It's armor negating. Wow. Why do I not see this more often? I guess it's because it's death, right? And, you know, normally the death casters are on the side of the dead people, you know? So doesn't really, you don't see it a lot with other people utilizing it against the dead, but that's pretty extreme. There's no check, there's no save, it ignores armor. It's just 22 with additional damage, actually, because it has bonuses for higher death casters. Very spammable anti-undead spell. Holy crap. So, I guess in this particular situation, it just worked out horribly that our Tartarian landed right in front of the Vampire Lords in range for this spell, but, you know, unable to really do anything about it. Control the dead is what we normally see, and that's another big problem. That is Thaumaturgy 5 and 2 death required. But I'm very curious as to why I see that a lot more than dust to dust from Vampire Lords, and from Liches. I'm very interested to know why these Vampire Lords all of a sudden were like, shit, let's dust to dust this motherfucker, right? Like, it feels very anti-Tartarian, which is great, right? Like, that's awesome. I think that's a really cool spell. Anyways, so we lose that tart, which is not good news. We lose Wetlands, we attack in Coast Haven and win. We attack in Behemoth's Rest and lose. Again, we run into that scenario where I think Lanka has more Liches, maybe not more Liches, but more Liches and Vampire Lords in play right now raiding around. Which means our 2 Vampire Lords run into 3 Liches, lose. We hit Swan Day and win. We get hit in Barren Crags, lose. We get hit in the Womb, lose. We take Scrawl Point. We hit Cloudcap Spires and lose. We have, again, another Vampire Lord against 2 Vampire Lords, a Wraith Lord, and a bunch of Undead. We hit in Black Harbor and win. A Titan against a bunch of Thralls and some Adventurers and we get hit in Caves of Madness by 5 Vampire Lords. We get hit in Ivanmore by a swarm of undead and a lich. We take Underspring. We get hit in Omiya, or we hit in Omiya and win. We get hit in Arcatus and lose. We attack into Stone Heavens and win. We get hit in Saetica and win, or lose, rather, sorry. We attack into Terrace Peaks and win. We attack into Geisha and win. We get hit in White Peaks and lose. 3 vampires there. We hit in Karnag and we are beaten, but we are beaten at a pretty extreme price. We kill a whole crap ton of undead, and we rout successfully. This is our Tartarian Cyclops over here. So this guy comes in, Iron Will, Temper Flesh, Summoner's Power, Iron Skin, Legions of Steel. So he's sitting at 26 MR, 33 protection, very high regeneration. And we won't watch through the whole thing, but he does eventually just, rout. But he kills most of the original undead that are with this group. And then just runs from the remaining undead. So, good work. Successfully retreats. We attack and we lose 2 liches as they run into Raktapatas, Vampire Lords, Wraith Lords, etc. They do some work. They do kill a fair amount of undead, but it's not an even trade. We attack into Bakar and win. We attack into Modern Weld and win. We get hit in Troya and lose. And then we have a couple of unexpected events. More population in Villia. Get a Lightless Lantern in Carrion. Cool. Gain Growth, Luck, Sloth, and lose taxes in Terrace Peaks. Lose 2 scouts. And these don't really matter too terribly much. The fortifications. We do have a new famous hero. Our Tartarian Cyclops from Karnag. Look at all the wounds he runs away with. He gets so hurt. He is now diseased, crippled, mute, limp, weakened, chest wound, never healing wound, and lost an arm. Damn. But he gains enormous strength. So he gets a +2 strength, which is cool. Okay. So pretty neat. Let's get a little tally there. We won 13 fights and lost 19. That's somewhat a misnomer. I'm not counting our 4 fights, right? These are just exchanges between Lanka and I. And just for ease of use, we are counting just, base province exchanges. So we won or took 13 battles. Lanka won or took 19 battles. And this is the kind of like this is what is continuously happening, right? We are slowly but surely, not super slowly, honestly, but on the scale, because we just have so many provinces and Lanka has so many provinces, right? We are slowly but surely losing the rating game. I think we're counter-rating well, and I think we can add a few things into the mix, right? We can start grouping up some of our vampires and our liches and things like that. We still have income. We still have a blood hunting economy. We will continue to produce liches. We will continue to produce vampires. There is a world where we slowly but surely win this, where we kill off enough of his vampires, or we out economy him 20, 30, 40, 50 turns down the road. I don't want to do that. I do not want to do that. I have enjoyed this game. I've enjoyed playing this game. I'm done playing this game. So this is turn 160, and this is not the beginning of the end, necessarily, but probably the beginning of the end. I am going to start making moves towards finalizing either a push on Jabal Kish, Sleepy Wolds, Brainport, or Sleepy Mountains. And I'm not sure exactly how that is going to look right now. So what we are going to do in the meantime is we're going to continue to counter raid as we have been, while throwing in a couple of experimentations here or there. Okay? And we're going to be looking for opportunities. I have a couple ideas on what those opportunities might be in the very near future. But I'm going to throw this out here and acknowledge it right here, right now. If I want to win this game, I honestly, and I could be wrong, again, take my opinion with a grain of salt, because I'm not an expert at this game. But if I want to guarantee a win in this game, I think what I am probably going to do over the next 10 to 15 turns is not the way to do that. The way to guarantee a win in this game is to continue to counter raid, continue to take opportunities to permanently kill different units that we come across, continue to expand our dominion, continue to push and take little fortresses here or there, utilize the fact that we have superior fighting when it comes to big battles, and that we have a very difficult global to deal with in our dominion. And slowly but surely, it's going to be painful because we're going to consistently lose the raiding game until we get to a point to where we have swung back the other way, right? We're going to have to start doing more things like mind hunting. We're going to have to we're going to have to sacrifice a lot of units as we try to get a very niche crafting economy going to try to be able to accomplish the things that we're trying to accomplish, right? That is a long-term goal. That is a long-term plan that is going to take us 20, 30, 40, 50 turns to see legitimate fruition, because it is going to be a game of attrition. I honestly do believe we would win that in the long run. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be playing that game that many turns into the future. I don't want to get to year 2 of having played this game, right? So I'm going to kind of throw caution to the wind, and over the next couple turns, look for some avenues, look for some options to try to either not throne rush, right? It's not really a rush anymore, but take the last throne that we need, or force the hand of some really big battles that swing things in our direction. So let's talk about what some of those things are going to look like. I'm not going to go over every single one of these movements. The vast majority of them are us counter raiding. Also, apparently, I legitimately did fuck this up. I didn't think that I did, but I was trying to move here. Apparently, I actually moved onto Moonsea, so that was my apology. I misclicked. Sorry. Regardless, though, I'm not going to go over most of these because they're just counter raiding with a tart here, counter raiding with a tart here, counter raiding with a bunch of liches here. We are trying to consolidate more of our liches and vampires in their attacks, okay? So that is important. But what is probably the bigger deal is as we kind of like move into what are we gonna do as far as options go. We are going to try to start leveraging our air income, because we get close to 60 air gems per turn right now. We're going to try to start utilizing our air income to do some pretty aggressive cloud trip easing. in an effort, what we're going to try to do is we got Cloud Trapezing at the Caves of Madness and Moss Wood. So we got Moss Wood and Caves of Madness, right? Vampires and undead in general, chaff, hordes of skeletons, that type of shit, right? Do really, really, really poorly against air elementals. So we are just experimenting with some options to try to take out these clusters of undead that he has, right? Of vampire lords, of liches, etc., right? If he's going to send 4 or 5 vampires at a single province, okay, we'll send 5 air gurus kitted out to summon air elementals, and generally speaking, we're gonna have to see how this works out, right? But generally speaking, I'm fairly confident that 5 air gurus landing on 4 vampire lords summoning 10 air elementals is going to wipe the floor with those vampire lords, right? The issue is we might not get 5 air gurus thanks to astral corruption, right? So this is a experiment. This is going to be a foray into, is this a plausible, efficient way for us to counter raid? And here's the thing, right? Losses for us will hurt way more than losses for Lanka. This is a stopgap solution. Lanka's vampire lords are immortal. We kill them, they will just respawn wherever they were summoned. But them being slain is a turn that they did not execute whatever raiding they were going to do. It is another turn for them to respawn, basically. Although that kind of depends on the situations. They don't always immediately respawn like the next turn. But, you know, generally speaking, it's about a turn for them to respawn, maybe 2 or 3. I don't know the particulars on that, so whatever. But then it's also at least one more turn, right, to move out from wherever they were to get back into position to start raiding again. So killing these 4, right, our losses are going to hurt us more because they're permanent losses from these air gurus. But killing the 4 vampire lords here and the 3 vampire lords here is a good 3 turns that these 7 vampire lords are basically not affecting the raiding game. So what we're looking at is if we go back to that concept of we won 13 exchanges and lost 19 exchanges, what we're looking for is to invert that number, right? Is to try to see if it is going to be efficient for us. Efficient is the key word, because I don't think it's gonna. Efficient for us to try to take out these vampire lords in this manner to where they're unable to affect the raiding game so easily, and then Lanka's going to have 2 choices from there, right? If he continues to do things the same way, then I will slowly but surely start to outraid him, and that's going to push way in our advantage, because I do think we win, generally speaking, the big army battles. Not every big army battle, but in a perfect scenario of his big army matching up against my big army, not a whole lot of outside influences, etc., I think we generally kind of win those. So if we can start to upset the raiding game, even if it's not us winning, but it's just kind of like more evening things out, I think that's going to work for us well in the long run. But again, I'm not really trying to long run this game, but I'm trying to figure out how to work this into a short-term victory. I.e., if I can get very successful raiding pushing over here on the west side, and we can get to the point to where we're threatening Grainport or threatening Sleepy Wolds, we might be able to sneak one of those off more easily if he is less prepared on that side than he is in Jabal Kish or Sleepy Wolds. Again, don't know if that's going to be the case. Gonna try to see how it goes. Here's the other thing, though, is not only are we risking more, that has more permanence because of the Astral Corruption. My assumption is we're probably going to get 4 out of the 5 Gudus successfully there. The 5th one will probably get hit by Astral Corruption and die to horrors. But I don't even know that we need 5 anyways. But maybe we do. So this is a gamble, this is an experiment. But the other side of this is talking about the concept of efficiency. Is this costs a lot of gems. This is going to cost 70 air gems this turn to do this, just these 2 targets, right? We make close to 60, so this is not a sustainable scenario. Even if we don't suffer heavy losses, we cannot sustain this for an elongated period of time. But we're going to do this just to see, okay, how effective do we get? How many people get hit by Astral Corruption? Okay? If it's 1 every time, then do we need to send 5? Can we send 4 and lose 1? And do it with 3? Can we send 3 and lose 1? And do it with 2? Right? Like, what is our ratio there? How many do we have to send? And then the other scenario is of course, right, like, is 5 or 10 air elementals overkill for 4 vampire lords? Or is that just enough? Could we do it with 8 air elementals? Could we do it with 6 air elementals? Right? So I'm trying to experiment and see over the next couple turns, how much do we need to put into these raids? Are they effective raids, or is this a waste of our air gurus? Is this a waste of our air gems? And while we're adding that to the mix, we're probably going to start adding mind hunts into the mix to try to take specific vampire lords out. More of that. And then we're going to continue looking for opportunities to actually sneak onto one of these. Maybe not even sneak on, just walk onto one of these thrones and see how it goes. So, let's wrap this up by talking about the actual number of rituals and forgings that we're doing. We're doing 2 summon Kusarikus. We're having mixed results with that. We are getting killed a fair amount, but I actually do think that Kusarikus are kind of worth it. They're a very good unit, and I think at the end of the day, our Earth Gurus are they're not useless, but they're just not super valuable for us comparatively. So we might as well risk a couple of them to do summon Kusarikus. The only reason we're not really doing more is because our Earth income is not that strong, and I do want to have a decent bank for some of these late game fights, because we're going to need to send... You know, if we just think about Army of Lead going off in a battle, right? We have to send that Army of Leadcaster with probably 4 or 5 Earth Gems, depending on whether they're a Earth 4 or Earth 5, right? Maybe 3, depending on if they're the right thing. But we have to send about 4 or 5 Earth Gems for one fight. But in all likelihood, just going onto a place means we have to send triple that amount, right? Because we're going to have the one intended fight, then we're going to have the second magic phase fight, because once we land wherever we, like, for example, take Trackless Waste to Jabal Kish. We move the army from Trackless Waste to Jabal Kish. We're going to have the Earth Gems for this fight when we move on to it, right? Say we pop that fort immediately. The next turn, we're going to have gems for a gem bait attack, which comes from the magic phase, right? And then we're going to have the gems for the actual siege or storming the castle fight, etc. So you can blow through, you can be like, oh yeah, I have 200 gems, that's plenty. And then all of a sudden you realize you've got to do 2 or 3 big fights, and you're like, oh, actually, that's not a lot. I don't have enough to do anything here. So I'm less worried about my fire gems because I don't have a lot of fire casters, but I am very worried about my water and earth right now. And I am somewhat worried about my air, actually. Because as we go into this concept of like dumping 70 air gems on these Cloud Trapeze raids, I've got to be very cautious, because if they aren't efficient, or if they aren't somewhat successful, we're going to have to stop them immediately, because we would be hemorrhaging gems if they aren't working. But I actually think they're going to work somewhat well, so we'll see how it goes. So anyways, 2 Kusarikus, 1 Force of Darkness up here, Curse of Blood, Infernal Tempest. We're doing 2 Lichcrafts. Again, the concept of a horror is probably going to take out these Liches that are doing this. We're doing it with Lich 3 and with Lich 1. But these Liches are immortal. Most of the time when they die to a horror, they don't die to a Soul Slay mechanic. So they typically just come back in a turn or 2, and that means we get a Lich that we can use in raiding, and we don't really lose too much out of it. So gonna continue doing Lichcrafts and see how that goes. We're doing a Mind Hunt because we've got a decent Mind Hunter here in Tartarian 33. She is kitted out to try to protect herself. One, to successfully Mind Hunt. She's got penetration gear, and then she's kitted out to try to protect herself against any horrors that come after her, but she'll probably die to anything that is somewhat big. So, but otherwise, she's not really doing much. She could be a gateway caster for us, but I actually think Mind Hunt might be the best use, because, I mean, if we successfully Mind Hunt 10 times over the course of the next 10 turns, that's a 10 vampire lords that are down. And if Lanka doesn't have much of a blood economy anymore, I don't know if he does or not, right? But if he doesn't have much of a blood economy anymore, then that could actually be a really bad thing. So we'll see how it goes. And then we've already talked about this, but we've got the 10 Cloud Trapezes coming. For forging, we've got 4 Demon Banes. I still think those are a very good investment, especially to protect our Liches and our Vampire Lords from various fire spells and things like that, which we've run into. We're doing a Ring of the Warrior because we're trying to do, again, not quite a full-blown scenario like we did in Raphabolia, but we are trying to prep and make sure that we've got morale gear, basically. We're doing 3 Amulets of Anti-Magic, again for Liches, 2 Shademail Hauberkins, again for Liches, a Ring of Regeneration. This is just to kind of like pad out more sets of gear. A Dragon Helmet to pair up with the Ring of the Warrior for morale gear. Scutata Volturnus just to pad out sets of gear. 6 Endless Bags of Wine because we are not supply neutral in we are barely supply neutral in Trackless Wastes. We're good in Raphabolia, we're good in Villia. We are not supply neutral in Realm of Silence. And we're not supply neutral in all of these places where we're blood hunting or gathering more troops, right? So we need to take this opportunity to try to get that taken care of. Probably going to do Endless Bags of Wine for a couple turns to try to get things down. Doing a Water Lens, just because we've got some Ishibs. Doing a Firebrand, because we've talked about this a bit, but Frost Brands are not working against the undead. They have cold resistance, obviously. So we need some other options there. Firebrands, Maces of Eruption, gonna be better. We are doing a Skull of Fire and a Fire Helmet. This is important. Skull of Fire and a Fire Helmet to replace our lost Skull of Fire and Fire Helmet from previous engagements, so that we can Flames from the Sky things like Sleepy Wolds or Javalkish or the surrounding areas, right? And then we're doing a Ring of Tamed Lightning just because I'm somewhat interested in if we've got dragon helmets, wrong person. If we've got like dragon helmets and rings of the warrior and demon banes, we've got really good fire resistance, but we don't really have any shock resistance. And Lanka does have access to, I think he has all of the queens of elemental air. And he's got access to really good air casters, period, in his nation. So having some of the late game air invocations show up, Shimmering Fields or Wrathful Skies, absolutely plausible. If we have a bunch of Rings of Tamed Lightning added into the mix on important units, then that's all the more protection. And it's relatively easy for us to make, you know, 1 or 2 of these per turn. If we lose a single Air Gudu here or there, it's fine. You know, not a big deal. And that has been an hour of me yapping about this turn. Again, not really a whole lot of exciting things happening just in this turn particularly, but it's a lot of very much what this late game scenario is consistent raiding, looking for new opportunities, looking for ways to be more efficient in taking out his raiders, looking for opportunities to take a important province off of him, and also still trying to make sure that Hinnom doesn't kill us. But again, we've kind of looked at this a couple times. Hinnom only has 2 candles left on their capital, so I'm imagining that Hinnom is sitting there preaching like crazy, and it's going to be dicey for them in the very near future. So that's going to be it for this turn. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.